The 2025 NFL trade deadline is less than 2 weeks away, and there's been a lot of talk about the Detroit Lions making a move for someone at the trade deadline with the injuries to our secondary and the trying to take our defensive line over the hump. There's been a lot of names linked to the Detroit Lions at the trade deadline. We have been talking about trades ever since Brad and Dan got in office. Year one is the only time that we did not trade. We were not buyers or sellers in the 2021 NFL deadline, but you could say that we traded away Matthew Stafford, and that was essentially the same thing, right? So now 2022, the day of the trade deadline, earlier in the day, we traded away TJ Hawkinson. In 2023, we traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones. And in 2024, we traded for Zadarius Smith with the injury to Aiden Hutchinson. And now year 5, NFL trade deadline. So right now, Brad Holmes, 75% of the time at the trade deadline, he has made a move, whether it's sellers or buyers. I think now we are at the buyers kind of all in Super Bowl window open that we could make a power move to take us over the hump. A lot of you in the comment section believe prior to week 7 that we needed some defensive back help. Let me ask you a question. Put in the comments below. Do you still feel the same way after the backup secondary performed the way that it did? I myself have been and will stay on the pass rush situation, specifically the defensive end, because the front four is going to have to win for us to win a Super Bowl. That's how it's going to be. Aiden is going to need some consistent help. That's just me, but you could have a different opinion. Well, as the trade deadline nears, it's going to be trade rumors galore, some astronomical, some very much what the Detroit Lions could do. And I think these two moves are two moves that the Detroit Lions could make. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at an article from ESPN.com, Jeremy Fowler and others. They had their take on 25 trade candidates at the trade deadline, and a couple of them, to my surprise, came to the Detroit Lions. The first one that we are going to take a look at is Riq Woolen. Now, he was a big his name was attached to the Detroit Lions about a month ago as far as people thought that the Detroit Lions should trade for him. We still have Terrion Arnold and we have DJ Reed. So I'm just going to tell you, when it comes to Riq Woolen, the only way to me that this would make sense trading for, there's a couple things about him that we'll talk about later. So I guess I'm jumping the gun, but let's look at this first. Here's what the buzz is. Says the buzz, multiple league execs believe Woolen earmarked as, or have Woolen earmarked as a strong trade candidate leading into the deadline. They've been waiting to move him for a while. One executive said he doesn't fit what Mike McDonald, which is their new coach, wants to do. Woolen would be best served going to a team that can utilize his man coverage traits. One potential hurdle to a deal, Seattle's other starting corner, Devin Witherspoon, had a difficult time staying healthy this season. The tape, the fourth-year pro with a 6'4" frame and elite speed, Woolen has 11 interceptions and 30 pass breakups in his career. Inconsistent tackling and lapse in eye discipline have prevented him from reaching his ceiling, but Woolen has the physical traits to help a defense majoring in man coverage. Chances of being traded 50%. Team fits: Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles, Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So before we take a look at his stats and his contract situation, when it comes to Riq Woolen, at first I was like, okay, I could see a lot of you was like dumping on the dude, man, was like, he's terrible, blah, blah, blah. And then some of you wanted the guy. Now, 50%, that is a big deal. And if these executives believe that he's going to be traded, he probably will. Here's where I'm at with that. We have Terrion Arnold. We've got Brian Branch. He's going to be back, right? So you got Kirby Joseph. He's going to be back after the bye week. Where could Riq Woolen fit in? Would he replace Terrion Arnold? Would he fill in for DJ Reed? So either Riq is going to be a backup to Reed or to Arnold, or he's going to take one of their starting roles, right? When it comes to, so I could see this trade in the sense that DJ Reed, to my understanding, if I remember correctly, has one more game to be on IR. Then he's eligible to come off IR. 21-day window could open anytime after that. So then you have to consider, all right, when is he going to come back? What are the odds? I think it's going to be late. I think Thanksgiving at the earliest is when we see DJ, possibly heading into December. Would Riq Woolen come in, fill the void for DJ Reed? I'm not sure. So that I'm like, okay, so we trade for this guy, we fit in. So then Reed comes back. Does Reed become the backup guy, or do you put Woolen as the backup guy? So after the performance of the backup secondary against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I feel like, and what that D-line and linebacker core was able to do, I feel like it's obvious to me that you need a pass rush first. That is my opinion, but you guys already know that. All right, let's take a look at his stats real quick. So he is drafted in 2022, fifth round pick. He's still with the team that drafted him, 26 years old, of course, 6'4", 210 pounds. Right now has 17 total tackles, no interceptions, no forced fumbles, 3 passes defended. We look at his stats. Relatively healthy guy, 17 games, 16 games, 15 games, and now 6 games in his 4th season. If we look at his contract situation, this is a reason I could see us trading for him, but we have a situation where he will be a free agent at the end of the year. So both of these guys that we're going to look at today, they both get to walk next year, but the good news is if they were to sign a deal, we could get a compensatory pick. $5 million, and that was going into the season. So it will be significantly less than that now with the fact that 9 games would have passed. So do we need him? Put in the comment section below. How do you feel going into week 9? Do you still feel like we need to trade for a secondary player, specifically a cornerback? I was convinced when we thought Terrion Arnold was done the week after DJ Reed went down, my heart was broken because I was like, here we go. Brad has put all these resources, draft picks, free agent signings, massive resources. In 2024, we drafted 2 back-to-back corners, and neither one of them are playing currently. I was like, here we go. We're about to do it again. We're about to trade. I can't believe after all me begging for a defensive end for years, a quality defensive end, that we're going to wind up trading for a cornerback. But it looks like we might not have to do that because Brad and Dan went hard on that secondary with guys off the couch, practice squad dudes, and they came out the ball. So hopefully those guys can remain on the Detroit Lions because Dan Campbell said in his press conference yesterday that everyone is at next man up. Everyone has to go into practice like they're going to play because you are one play away from being in the game. That's what he said. And I like that mentality. It's not, oh, I might not play, expect to play. Play, practice like you're going to play. So, and those guys came out and did just that. Now, here's a guy that I would be totally okay with. Even though he's having a down season, I would be okay with this guy. Even though he has a bunch of injury history, I would be okay with this guy. All right. And this person, you guys know, we've already made a video about him, is Jaelan Phillips, the edge for the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins have already said that they're going to keep Mike McDaniel. I keep wanting to call the guy McDonald. Mike McDaniel. They're going to keep him. Too bad for them, but great for us because they'll continue to lose games and they're going to have a fire sale. Bradley Chubb is not available. He's available, but he's not somebody we're going to invest in. As far as I can remember, his contract is ridiculous, something that the Detroit Lions are not going to want to take on. Brad seems to like loner people. If you think about it, think about this. And I just thought about this. Well, no, I thought about this. Donovan Peoples-Jones was on an expiring contract. He was on the last year of his deal, the last half. He wasn't a first-round pick, so he was coming at the end of his rookie deal, and he was on the end of it. We wind up re-signing him after that season. He spent half a season with us. We wind up re-signing him for the 2024 NFL season. So Darius Smith did have a year left on his contract, but we wind up cutting him. I think we traded for him knowing that we were going to cut him. So for Brad Holmes to trade for an expiring contract guy is not something unlike something he would do because he's done it before. All right. So Jaelan Phillips is a guy that I think the Detroit Lions could go. And we'll look. Well, the bad news about Jaelan, again, another player with an expiring contract, but another player who can walk. This guy might sign a pretty substantial deal, and we could get a compensatory pick. Here's the buzz. Says Phillips and teammate Bradley Chubb have circulated in trade rumors. Multiple teams I spoke with believe that Phillips would be more valuable than Chubb due to the upside. A string of injuries stalled his rising star status, but he's working his way back. But there's this. Dolphins coach Mike McDaniel said last week that any Dolphins trade rumors are baseless currently. All I got to say with that is stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Of course, you're going to say that. Aaron Glenn said the same thing about his players, and we know that that is fluff. The tape. Injuries have reduced Phillips' explosiveness and range, but he has the physical tools that teams look for on the edge. With his 6'5" frame, Phillips can play as both an edge setter and pocket disruptor. He has 25 sacks and 117 pressures over his 5-year career. Chances of getting traded, 30%. Team fits, Kansas City to the gnaw, San Francisco to the gnaw, and of course, the Detroit Lions. Jaelan Phillips is a guy that, again, we are probably, if we did trade for him, we are not going to re-sign him in the offseason. We still have to pay Hutch. Right now, any move that the Detroit Lions make is probably going to be a 9 or 10 game loaner. At this, what are we at? No, we are at the trade deadline is happening. It'll be a 9 game loaner. A 9 game loaner. Now, Jaelan Phillips, financially, or Riq, he makes more sense financially and draft capital wise. He's already a 5th round pick. I mean, are you going to get a 1st round pick for him? Absolutely not. The Lions have no 3rd round pick. We've got a 1st and a 2nd. We're not giving up a 1st or a 2nd for Riq. Could we give up a player or maybe 2 future picks? I don't know. I hope we don't give up 2 future anything without getting back something other than the player if we're going to trade for a loaner. I believe we traded Zadarius Smith and a pick and got back, or we got Zadarius and a pick and they got 2 picks. So if it's something like that, we can do it. But I hope, of course, for the right price. So financially and trade capital wise, he would make the most sense. But do we really, really need him? So again, put in the comment section below. Do you think we need him or do you think we still need edge help? So the percentage is higher for Riq to get traded, but I personally will want to get an edge rusher. You guys already know this. And we talked about AQM. All right. AQM is solid. He is solid. We have no idea what we're going to get after from Marcus Davenport whenever he comes back from IR. We don't know if he's going to come back from IR, and that's real talk. We've got Josh Pascal, who has yet to play in a game this season. We don't know if we'll see him this season. We have Mekhi Wingo. We don't know when we'll see him either. The Detroit Lions, could, even if it's for a half a year, they can use a more than capable edge. Now, Jaelan, his stats are not the best this year. He has 1 sack. AQM has more sacks than him. It's working out that way this year. But similar to people trying to compare Micah Parsons with AQM, which is ridiculous to me, that's the same way Jaelan is having a down year. That doesn't mean he can't turn it up once he gets here. Hutch is back. Hutch is back and doing this thing, what Hutch does. Aleem McNeil is back. And you notice how Aleem McNeil came back and you could instantly see the difference on the defensive line. The very first play from scrimmage, Aleem McNeil was in the backfield immediately. He had 2 people on him and he was still in the backfield. So Jaelan Phillips, to me, we need a game changer. And Jaelan is capable. He does have the injury history. So both these draft picks, they got a lot of stuff working against them. Jaelan has injury history. He has contract size. For Riq, you've got the fact that you are on a loaner. Both of these guys are loaners. Neither one of them would most likely be with us next year. I could see Riq maybe. It depends on what he would be asking for. But what I was going to say earlier is that the Detroit Lions currently will be $21 million in the hole going into next year as far as salary cap. So That's without signing Aiden Hutchinson. I have no idea what Brad has up his sleeve. Is there a Jared Goff potential restructure? I don't know what he's going to do. The good news, and it's, I'm starting to think that a loaner might be the best course of action for the Detroit Lions. I really, unless you get a guy, there's still a couple of guys on rookie contracts that we could buy ourselves another year. Kayvon Thibodeau, one of the guys. Jacksonville, I haven't heard anything about Trayvon Walker right now, but they probably won't move him. But a guy like Trayvon Walker, right, who is hurt right now, I don't know when he's coming back, but a guy with maybe a year and a half is looking pretty good right now. If you can get a guy with those type of traits on a rookie deal, you could buy yourself some time, maybe take an edge rusher next year, and all of a sudden we go from, we're stacked when it comes to the D-line. If we take an edge next year, first, second round pick, one of those guys, right? Stay away from that late round pick stuff. Get one of those guys. So it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks. I don't know what Brad has up his sleeve. I'm hoping it is something to make this team better, specifically on the D-line, specifically the edge rusher position. Because as I said in a video the other day, I don't know what it's going to take for you guys to understand why I'm on this soapbox, why I will not get off this horse. In my opinion, the game is won on the defensive line. There's a reason that edge rushers are the second highest paid position in the National Football League. I was thinking two things. You got the quarterback, and this offseason, every position, every highest paid player was an edge rusher, right? It was meaning non-quarterback. So you have quarterback. Then, Myles Garrett is the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history, in the NFL currently. It went from Myles Garrett to TJ Watt. Then they signed Max Crosby. You've got there's a reason for that. Nick Bosa made a bunch of money a couple years ago. There's a reason for that. They are important to the game. They are game changers, game wreckers. They are the guys that take you to a Super Bowl. Unless you got a defensive tackle like Aaron Donald, Chris Jones, one of those guys, those are the guys, the edge rushers, the quarterbacks, the edge rushers, they take you to a Super Bowl. I think personally that wins my argument. Like, why am I so bent on an edge rusher, a quality edge rusher, one that's capable of pushing the needle, not just standing, not just poking you, but pushing that needle through? It's because these are the guys that win games. We see they had 3 people on Aiden Hutchinson. It was 2 on the line when he came off. If he somehow got behind them, there was a running back. There was somebody there to chip him. Aleem had 2 people on him. That's 5 people. That's 5 people. That's when the other guy steps up. If you got a guy like Jaelan Phillips, a guy like, I'm just going to throw it out here, Myles Garrett, you have to account for them guys. You can no longer put 3 dudes on Hutch because somebody on that D-line going to eat. If Hutch is pushing the right side and a guy like Jaelan Phillips is pushing the left, all of a sudden, you got to step up. You got Reader coming from one side and Aleem coming from the other, swallow. All of a sudden, your linebackers are super available. Alex Anzalone, Jack Campbell. If you get that collapse of the pocket outside, you bring them in, all of a sudden, Aleem, I guarantee you our defensive tackle sacks will go up as well. All right? So let me know in the comment section below. If Brad could pull both of these guys off, I doubt it because our picks, we already have no 3rd round pick right now, and we got a bunch of late stuff on the back on day 3 of the draft. So I don't think both of these guys are possible. I want Jaelan. That's who I want. As far as between these 2 people, I'll take Jaelan Phillips, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. If you are a director member and you've emailed me about your milestone gift, then you don't have to do it. If you haven't and you are a member of 6 months or more, or you've hit your 12-month membership, please email me if you haven't already. I am mailing out the milestone gifts at the end of the month. All right. So do that for me. I would appreciate you. Appreciate you and it. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.